Why did the Coruscant Guard go along with Ahsoka's trial knowing it wasn't legal? Really wish we had a teleprompter. Hey, when it comes to Ahsoka's trial, the audience knew that it was a farce. But did the clones know that too? Yes. They just couldn't do anything about it until it was over. The Coruscant Guard are massive sticklers for protocol, but also don't want to get reprimanded for the dumbest of things, so they play along. Palpatine plays judge, Padme defends, Tarkin accuses, and a bunch of senators and Jedi sit in the jury boxes. The clones play along knowing that if they don't, or call them out, they will get punished. This is not new for them. As this is a military tribunal and martial law is in full swing, Palpatine has the right to authorize Ahsoka's trial, but he has no authority to judge. This is either Fox's or the real judge's job. Only the highest ranking available military officers can judge her, as Ahsoka is still technically a military officer / civilian. Palpatine himself is not part of the military. The Jedi also forfeited their right to judge her, as they only have authority to judge her as a Jedi, not a civilian.
It is the Council's opinion that Padawan Ahsoka Tano has committed sedition against the Republic, and thus she will be expelled from the Jedi Order.
Your Padawan status will be stripped from you, and you shall forfeit all rank and privileges within the Grand Army of the Republic. You will be turned over to the Republic courts to await your trial, and whatever punishment they will set for you. Henceforth, you are barred from the Jedi Order.
As Palpatine is the Chancellor, he's overstepping his bounds, so everything he does would be labeled a mistrial. Plus, this is his first and only case. He normally doesn't have time to judge anyone because of his duties as Chancellor. Padme is not a lawyer. She doesn't ask for evidence and she doesn't care about rules. This is evident when Uncle Far died.
I had some information about a lead here at the docks.
Which you naturally brought to me straight away so I could investigate, only... No, wait, you did the exact opposite of that. There are rules, Senator.
My friend was murdered. I don't care about rules.
She is very unqualified. The most she can be is a character witness. Tarkin is supposed to be there, but as he is the main investigator, he's not supposed to be he's supposed to be the witness, not the prosecutor. He's also not a lawyer. The Jedi are no longer her peers, so they cannot be there unless they sit in the gallery where they can't vote. They don't think the rules apply to them. The senators are not picked at random, nor are they her peers, or military. So they're not supposed to be there at all. The only ones qualified to be there is the Coruscant Guard, Ahsoka, and Tarkin. Palpatine, because he is not a real judge, can't legally give Ahsoka the death penalty, so whatever sentence he gives cannot legally be carried out. The clones know this, so even if she did get sentenced to death, they wouldn't execute her. All the clones had to do was wait until the mockery is over, put her back in a cell, get real evidence, then wait for the real judge to return. Tarkin would try to oversee her punishment, but would be informed about the truth of the matter and forced to redo everything. They may also inform him that he's also facing criminal charges due to mishandling the suspect and evidence. In a way, going through with the farce would make it easier in finding the real killer if Ahsoka is truly innocent. If they let the real killer think she's found guilty, it's likely they would slip up. Plus, if they keep her contained until the killer is caught, it'll prevent her from burying herself further. This, in turn, would build trust between her and the Corey Guard, possibly getting them on better terms with Anakin and/or the rest of the Jedi. As they've lived and worked there for almost 3 years, they know how the system works. They know the real judge is highly experienced in this area, so the clones aren't going to take Palpatine seriously just because he took his place. They would know that a debate between defendant and prosecutor won't stand unless all evidence is shown, otherwise they very easily get a mistrial, or worse. They literally treat the whole thing like a Senate debate.
Look at the facts. Leda Termond called Ahsoka to her cell to reveal the name of the true mastermind behind the bombing of the Jedi Temple. Leda told Ahsoka she was afraid. She told her the mastermind was a Jedi. And before she could reveal the Jedi's name, Leda Termond was strangled to death by way of the Force. Why would Ahsoka kill Leda with a method that would so obviously tie the murder to her?
The financial costs alone will bankrupt and cripple the Republic. By adding more clones to the conflict, we are only escalating destruction, not winning the war. Which is why we must vote for this resolution, to promote more diplomacy, and to bring an end to this killing and hatred.
Well said, Senator Amidala. However, if she is innocent, then why was she seen conspiring with known separatist terrorist Asajj Ventress?
Ventress set me up. My master will prove that.
And where is your master?
He's trying to find the real murderer.
Then maybe he should be looking at you.
As far as all the unqualified people know, the trial is real. The clones are literally doing this just to entertain the idiots that decided to show up. And by not taking it seriously, they not only save their own armored butts, but also the idiots' butts. If they took it seriously, they would have to arrest everyone involved to turn out Ahsoka was innocent after being condemned. So there is a lot at stake here. Anakin running around trying to track down the real mastermind was nice, but he did it wrong. The only reason he decided to hunt Ventress down was because he too thought the trial was real and Ahsoka was going to die. Had he talked to the clones or brought some along, they would have held him back and gotten a testimony out of Ventress sooner without him trying to kill her. But as he believes that they don't think outside an order and that they believe that Ahsoka is 100% guilty, it's understandable to why he didn't ask. Barriss, the real killer, honestly didn't care if it was a farce or not. The Jedi would be there because it's Ahsoka's trial. She counted on it. We suspect that she wasn't planning on Palpatine taking over the case, but as that's not something Jedi would question, she ran with it anyway. Considering how well planned out all this was, she likely studied both Fox's and the courtroom rules beforehand. She knew that this whole thing would be publicized by the Senate afterwards, letting the people see what the Jedi were really like. Palpatine was more than happy to use this to further his plans. After her confession, the Coruscant Guard was forced to release Ahsoka without a real trial, but as Barriss is automatically taken back to the temple, she is tried and executed there that very same day. The Coruscant Guard would try to talk the Jedi into handing her over for a real trial, but would get shot down, making it impossible for Fox to avenge his dead brothers Barriss murdered. Now, if the trial was done legally, this is how it would have looked. Ahsoka would be brought before the court with a court-appointed defense attorney, likely a clone who would pass the bar exam. They would be free. Well, it wouldn't cost her a dime. Tarkin would also get one. Either civilian judge or Thyre would be sitting in the judge's seat. Thyre because being the highest ranking available officer that was not directly involved in the case. Fox, Rex, Anakin, and Ventress would all be brought forward as witnesses. If Fox was still investigating or had not been located, the trial would have been postponed. Same for everyone else. The jury would consist of clones from units that are neither Coruscant Guard nor 501st for obvious biases. On the other on the basis that even if she's not a Jedi, she's still a military officer. After all are assembled, the case would proceed. Discrepancies would be found in the evidence and likely would have led to her exoneration. The strongest piece of evidence being the fact that Ahsoka's hands moved after Letta started choking. After the case is over, all charges would have been dropped and investigation started to look for the real murderer. Tarkin would have also been arrested on charges of contamination of evidence and harassing a suspect, both federal felonies. He also tried to force a confession, which would have been inadmissible had he gotten one. Everything resulting from Barriss's confession would have played out more or less the same. And that's what we got. Bye. Bye.